How my mother and brother plotted against me, but greed has a way of unraveling alliances. With me out of the picture, Eric and my mother turned their attention to each other. My brother wanted to sell the house for a quick profit, while my mother insisted on keeping it, claiming it was her rightful home. Their arguments grew more heated with each passing day. Eric accused her of being selfish and manipulative, while she accused him of being a heartless opportunist. Eventually, their partnership crumbled. Eric went behind her back and listed the house for sale without her consent. When my mother found out, she retaliated by taking legal action, claiming he had no right to sell a property she partially owned. The legal battle drained them both financially and emotionally. The house, once a symbol of family and love, became a battleground for their greed and bitterness. That's when I saw my opportunity. I hired a lawyer and began digging into the paperwork I had signed. It turned out that the documents my mother had tricked me into signing were riddled with irregularities. The lawyer discovered that her claim to partial ownership was legally invalid, as the signatures and clauses were not properly notarized. Armed with this evidence, I filed a lawsuit to reclaim my rightful ownership of the house. The court battle was grueling, but the truth was on my side. My mother and Eric, already weakened by their infighting and mounting legal fees, didn't stand a chance. When the judge ruled in my favor, I felt a wave of relief and vindication. The house was mine again. As for my mother and Eric, they had burned through their savings fighting each other and me. With nowhere else to go, they ended up losing everything. Eric's business ventures collapsed under the weight of his debts, and my mother's manipulative schemes left her isolated. Both of them were evicted from their respective homes and ended up on the streets, victims of their own greed and betrayal. I returned to the house, my house, and began to rebuild my life. It wasn't easy to erase the pain of their betrayal, but I found strength in knowing I had reclaimed what was rightfully mine. And as I stood in the doorway, watching the sun set over the familiar landscape, I knew I had won. Not just the house, but my freedom from their toxic influence.